We're gonna go into the failings of the services that were supposed to be there to protect you and your family.
Yeah.
But for the purposes of the camera, can we just show the camera the amount of factual evidence that you have to back up everything you're about to say?
Yeah.
Show them this file that you've got.
No
Can we just
problem.
lift that up and show them the file? So it's got paperwork after paperwork, and this is going back right from the beginning.
From the beginning, right through to the day of 2019.
When did you first realise that there was something going on with Amy?
There was something going on in... Her mum brought me to a light of it, obviously, because I was at work in the daytime and everything else, and I worked away from home quite a lot until, obviously, Amy was... until roughly around 2010, 2011. It became then an issue. It come to light to myself, but there was something just not quite right. From that,
when you say not right, what do you mean by that? Was it that was she changing her attitudes were changing?
she was hiding away quite a lot upstairs, coming in from school and obviously going upstairs. There, she was coming home with different, like a new scarf. She come home with like rings, perfume, different items, and you'd say, where did you get them from? Oh, they're my friends. My friends give them me in school.
Yeah.
So obviously then it became, I started to monitor a little bit where she was going, who she was seeing, and it just happened to be this one day she said she was going to a friend's house, Chloe's house, and I said, I'll drop you off because I'm going past there that day. I turned up to drop her off. She was obviously accompanying me. We drove round to the house, dropped her off. Her mum was with me at the time. We dropped her off. She was banging the door and I went down the road and I turned around and I come back up the road and she was walking away from the address. So I said to her, I said, where are you going? She said, oh, well, she's not in, so I'm going to be walking home. I said to her, I said, well, I'll take you home. There's no problem. You can come with us to continue where we were going that day, and then obviously she'd be going home with us.
Yeah.
She got in the car, but there was quite a big stink. Well, the attitude and argumentative over petty things.
Yeah.
We then continued and she went home. That night she was hid away more so, and she would go to school as normal. And then people in the community were saying to me, I've seen your daughter. I've seen your daughter here. I've seen your daughter there. I've seen her in trench
school hours.
In school hours.
Okay. Yeah.
So I now question her mom, and her mom is saying, well, she's in school as far as she knew.
Yeah.
So we contacted the school, and as far as the school register was concerned, she was in school.
Okay.
The register was saying she was there. Then, obviously, it's gone on, and she's still cutting herself off from the rest of the household, her siblings, her brother, her sister.
It wasn't like that before?
It was nothing like that before.
Okay.
She was always a bubbly person, always interacting with everybody, always sat round the table with us, have a general conversation.
Changed, you knew that straight away.
That had changed.
Okay.
Something wasn't quite right.
Yeah. What did the school say when you contacted them?
So when I contacted the school said she was in. As far as the register was concerned, she was in, but there has been a few occasions where she's had to be sent home because, obviously, ladies' problems.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And she got sent home. Well, that was marked on the register. Well, she never appeared home on them days until school time of coming home.
Yeah.
Because there was something didn't seem quite right. Her mom had overheard her talking on a telephone early hours of the morning. Her mom had intervened the telephone to ask her who she's on the phone to. She said nobody. And things then, my mind started to go. So it became to the point when she disappeared. So obviously now we started to ask people, had anybody seen her? Social media, contacted the police. The police said they couldn't do nothing because she wasn't missing for 24 hours. So it became then an issue of ours, a family issue. So we're searching everywhere for her. Then somebody said to us, but she was seen at a block of flats in Donington, in Barn Close, which then I got my brother, myself, and we drove up Barn Close. I drove all around Donington at the time and I couldn't see her nowhere. I went up to these flats and I've looked around and I couldn't see her, but her sister had put across the social media, had anybody seen Amy? It became then, I found her. By driving around in the car, she was in a block of flats being pulled up the stairs by an Asian or Ghanaian gentleman pulling up the stairs. I then banged the door to get into the flats, pushed every buzzer, nobody had let me in. Eventually a lady in the bottom floor flat, she let me into the flats. I went up the stairwell looking for her, shouting her, and she was in a flat on the top floor. Banged all the doors on the top floor at the time, but nobody was answering. Then this door opened, number 49. Her mum went into the flat. She was there in hysterics. She was just crying, screaming her head off, bawling her eyes out. I entered the flat where the Ghanaian guy eventually answered the door. I recognised this person from the stairwell, still got the same hat on. I searched his flat and everything for any belongings of him and called the police. The police come. In the meantime, we took my daughter down, put her in the car outside, wait for the police. My brother then took her to Wellington, to the Glade, for sexual examination. It was found she'd had sexual intercourse by a perpetrator. Obviously now this has started to, the process started to go round in my head. From her getting eliminated, she's been sexually assaulted, she got released from Wellington Police Station, sent home.
How old was she at this point?
She was 12. 12, just turned 13, just coming 13. Just turned 13 in the March. She turned 13. This was in the May. She got all analysed, taken. She's gone back home. Then the police come to the house, and the police sat on our settee and called my daughter a full-blown liar. But nothing had gone on. Nothing at all had gone on with the examination. Nothing at all had gone on. She consented.
At 13 years old?
At 13. She consented. I know you can't consent. Consensual age of sex is 16. She was 13 years of age. He sat on a DI now and a DC sat on the settee at the home address.
What's his name?
DI Billy Scott, he called my daughter a liar, and DC Cindy Henry called my daughter a liar. From that, if she was that much of a liar, why was I at an abortion clinic on the 30th of September 2013 where a mum had to stand behind the screen for 4.5 hours while she has an abortion in Southall, Birmingham, to come from there back home? Been to the police. The police now start their investigations. In the meantime, you've got the child protection, you've got the Kate, you've got child services, and you've got family intervention. These people have all come into our life, into our house, and they could produce nothing. They couldn't do no more than I'm already doing as a parent. They put her on a behaviour contract which allowed her out 15 minutes a day. I have the evidence to show. And I had to then be monitoring. My job to monitor her. The police CSO got took away from the address because the CSO was taking things too serious and relaying all this information which is presented to the CSO to the police, and the police weren't acting on nothing. I have the family intervention come into my house and they walk away in 2014 and say there's nothing more we can do to help the family. This was 12 months after her abortion. Then I had social services, John Powers, turn round. He never come to the home address.
So the flat that you went to,
Yeah.
the man that you saw, complete with your daughter being examined and them saying that she has had sexual intercourse, was that man arrested?
That man was arrested and released with no charge.
Why? If they've got the evidence from analysing her, from looking at her, knowing that she's had that, why did they do that?
Because that man's DNA wasn't the DNA what was found on her.
So potentially there was more than one person.
There was 2 people in the room. One person left, another person coming.
Your daughter was raped, you're going through all this turmoil, and for a phone call, the connection to this family call you or call someone and offer £15,000 for you to keep
the baby, the fetus. To keep the baby, obviously, but it's become a fetus.
So these are all connected. Are these all residents of Telford?
Yes, they are.
And surrounding areas?
Yes, they are.
And how big does this family go?
This family is massive.
It's massive.
It's massive. It goes into Birmingham.
Okay, so how many of these men? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many? Six men. They're all from the same family.
They're all from the same family.
So how many more from this family have been involved in raping your daughter?
There's another 9 from that family.
From that family. This problem that you've experienced, your daughter's experienced, this complete scandal. Those responsible, which you'll think the reason why the police maybe didn't do what they should be doing is because they think if they did that, they'd be classed as racist.
That's right. They'd be classed as racist. It's like, as soon as I spoke out in the police station with Ian Rutherford, DS Ian Rutherford, DS Rob Rondell, if I spoke out with DCI Jennifer Mattison, I was foreseen to be racist because
they label you racist?
They labelled me racist.
Give me an
because
example.
I turn round and I would say, why are you allowing these Pakistani people to rape my daughter? If it was a white person, he would have been brought to justice.
Like that.
Just like that.
Yeah.
Because there is evidence out there. I have seen cases which have happened. People have groomed people online, and they have groomed people. White people have groomed young white girls.
Yeah.
They have been brought to justice straight away because it is of the Asian community. It has been discarded. Tried to sweep it under the carpet and think it's all going to go away.
Because it'd be classed as racist.
Because I'm classed as racist.
Okay, let's just. What I want to do is I want to talk. If you can, and it's probably going to be difficult for you. But I want the public to understand what these men did to your daughter. So, if you can, without it being too hard, can you describe what had happened? I know you want to say this. From the times of being in that flat and trying to get your daughter out of that flat and put her in that car that day, what other experiences did your daughter go through the rape? What happened?
Well, she got taken by once it all started to come to light, and obviously my daughter started to speak, and it took me 2 years after she absconded. It took me 2 years to find her. It took me probably 3-4 months to build that relationship up with her again, and that trust issue. When I built the trust, I'd meet her frequently. I'd drive down to London and I'd meet her frequently, and I needed to put my mind at rest. Little parts, of what's actually happened. What extensive have they gone to? Where have they took her? What have you seen? What have they threatened you with? So obviously, then I got speaking to my daughter. They took her to a place where there's a freezer, and there was a body in that freezer of a young girl hanging. And if she spoke out, she'd be next.
What she was taken? So that's massive. I mean, so she was taken to where? She was taken what building was it? What sort of building was this?
It was an old butcher shop.
An old butcher shop. And did they run this?
Their relatives or they had connections to this old butcher shop.
Yeah.
And in there was a girl hanging on a hook. She froze in the freezer. She got told if she spoke out about any of this,
about what happened to her,
any experience, and it got spoke out about, she'd be next.
So
from obviously taken to a freezer, I seen it with my own eyes. They threatened to smash my face in. What they messaged her, which I found that on a Smash mobile phone, which is here.
So this is the evidence that we've got. Right. So this is an evidence bag. Let's just go into this quickly. So this is an evidence bag this was a phone that belonged to who?
My daughter.
So this is a phone that belonged to your daughter, and this was taken by the police.
Yeah.
Because there was you believed, or your daughter believed, there was information here that would.
It would incriminate. It would incriminate people because I'd seen people on that phone pleading for mercy on their hands and knees.
For her not to talk.
Not to talk, okay. And they're sorry.
So
for
why?
Forgiveness.
So for the camera, this phone is in 5 or 6 different bits. Why is this phone in 5 or 6 different bits?
Well, it was given to them in fully working order. That phone was.
Yeah.
It became then towards the end of the investigation, and the police said they weren't going no further with nothing. So
did they say they found anything on the phone?
Wait a minute. So I started to ask for exhibits back, our exhibits back. So the exhibits started to come back, no problem. They started coming. I have an exhibit box here, exhibits in it.
These are all different phones?
These are all different phones.
These are your daughter's phones?
No, these were what were passed to her by perpetrators.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
so
these...
how many we've got? So these phones were given to her.
Yeah, that phone
by the rapists. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are individual people giving these to her. They weren't the same person. No. So there's six.
FST label. No examination carried out on the handset in the box. I started asking the questions about it. They stopped any exhibits coming back now. There's nothing come back ever since.
So this box says on the side of it, no examination on this handset carried out. So that would mean that this device was never dealt with, never looked at.
No.
So why is it in 5 different bits?
Because I believe the police have smashed it. It's corruption within the police, within the establishment.
So they've made it so that this phone can't be turned on. That's it now.
No, it's damaged. Yeah, and I have liability met from the police for criminal damage to a mobile phone.
So you actually got a prosecution?
I've got liability met, but
they did this.
West Mercia police smashed that phone.
And also, can we talk about the tape, because I know it's quite important. We've got, you probably can't see it, there's a line of sellotape across here. And from my understanding with these exhibits, tell me if I'm wrong, but once a police officer will open this bag, once they close it, they have to seal it and they have to sign it. Talk about the strip.
This bag, there's a dotted line along here. Right along the very dotted line, it has been slit open and it has been sellotaped back. If you get your torch for your DNA evidence, they've even left a piece of food underneath the tape of their teeth. There is fingerprints in that bag and there's evidence there.
So to them, they're trying to tell you that they had never opened this bag.
They told me that.
They'd never tampered with it.
No.
But it's clear from the rip that's there that you can see it's been opened and sellotape on the back, and the fact it's not been signed.
No.
So it's complete corruption.
Corruption.